Here's to feeling good all the time.
Do you love to shop for guns? We're also looking for friendly service? Well, the search is over. Top Gun Supply here in St. Augustine is the friendly gun shop. The staff is very knowledgeable. Frank and Kirk can answer whatever questions you may have and assist you with your AR build. They have a great selection of ammo at great prices. They also carry a full line of targets, cleaning supplies, Lucas Oil products, and firearm magazines. Top Gun Supply is a Glock Blue Label dealer for military and first responders. So what are you waiting for? Stop on by Top Gun Supply of St. Augustine, 525 State Road 16, here in the Westgate Plaza. Top Gun Supply, the friendly gun shop.
This is Sean O'Toole with the Armchair Quarterback. Catch me during Drive Time on the Armchair Quarterback radio show and on Facebook Live. NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, the National Football League, Big Ten, and college football, and more. We cover it all.
I know what you're thinking. This is new and improved
Armchair.
It's the new and improved Armchair Quarterback Radio. Take us anywhere you go and everywhere you go. The best sports talk show in all the Southeast. So good you can't believe it's not everywhere. Armchair Quarterback Radio. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
100% taste, 0% artificial preservatives. Made with a blend of delicious oil, purified water, and just a pinch of salt.
2, please. And spread on some extra.
I'm here all day. New and improved
Armchair.
It's time to believe.
The Armchair Quarterbacks cover the Big 12. Big news and big games all year long.
History of Oklahoma is about winning championships. We play well in the Orange Bowl. You can't say, well, that was then, this is now. That's Oklahoma football.
Looks right, throws deep right side, and it's intercepted! Intercepted! Unhitch the wagon, put the ponies in the board. The Sooners have come into Rocky Top and stolen one away from the Volunteers in double overtime.
And Texas will win the All-State Sugar Bowl. It's going to be a 10-win season for the first time since 2009 in a New Year's Six bowl victory.
Holloway going down the line with it. Keeps it. Turns upfield. First down. Breaks loose. They score. Touchdown. 4th and 5. The national championship on the line right here. He's going for the corner. He's got it. Vince Young scores.
Armchair.
You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
I hear these fools on TV talking about defund the police and things like that. We need police reform and prison reform and things like that. I'm like, wait a minute. Who are black people supposed to call? Ghostbusters when we have crime in our neighborhoods?
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes, and what a lovely morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ready? Got this?
Let's go.
Armchair.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. 10 women have now filed complaints with Houston police about Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson, according to Watson's attorney, Rustin Hardin. Hardin spoke with media on Monday about the progress of the criminal and civil cases involving his client. Quote, "There are 10 women that have made complaints to the police," unquote, said Harden. 8 women, according to Harden, are among the 22 who have alleged lawsuits in Watson's sexually assaulted them, engaged in sexually inappropriate behavior, or during massage sessions. 2 of the women have filed complaints with Houston police, Harden said, have not filed lawsuits against Watson. Quote, "There are a couple of women who we don't know anything about," unquote. If Watson were to reach a settlement with any or all of the women who are suing him, Harden reiterated his desire to make any settlement public and said Watson would not sign any settlement that includes a confidentiality agreement. The Texans quarterback has been the subject of trade rumors for the past few months, even before the off-field allegations. And Harden acknowledged Monday that he is not involved in any way in the decision-making with respect to Watson's football future. Oklahoma State President Casey Shrum said Monday that Oklahoma's intentions to explore leaving the Big 12 are, quote, "the result of months of planning with the SEC and a, quote, clear breach, unquote, of the conference bylaws." Shrum made the comments in a statement and a series of tweets. In the statement, she called Oklahoma's actions strategic and deliberate. Quote, "It is difficult to understand how Oklahoma Institution of Higher Education would follow the University of Texas to the detriment of the state of Oklahoma," added Shrum. Earlier Monday, Texas and Oklahoma said in a joint statement released by both schools that they have officially notified the Big 12 that they will not be renewing their grants of media rights after the expiration of the 2025 season. There is a possibility that the two schools would pay $75 to $80 million penalty for leaving early while also giving the required 18 months notice per Big 12 bylaws. Some have speculated this is the first legal maneuver, and the possibility also exists that the Big 12 dissolves well before 2025. We have a full slate of baseball on Tuesday. At 7:10 Eastern, the Braves and Mets are back at it. Charlie Morton is on the mound for Atlanta. Yankees and Rays, Shane McClanahan is expected to take the hill. Adam Wainwright and the St. Louis Cardinals are in Cleveland to do battle with Cal Quantrill and the Cleveland Indians. Whoops, I mean Cleveland Guardians. Whoops, I mean that name is stupid. Blue Jays and Red Sox again tonight, Robbie Ray and Garrett Richards. And at 8:05 Eastern, Vladimir Gutierrez is in Chicago with his Reds. They'll see Alzolay and the Cubs. Just how many of them? We're heading towards the trading deadline, and a lot of the Chicago players could be on their way out. 7:05, Marlins and Orioles, Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the Fish. Brewers and Pirates, Brett Anderson and Tyler Anderson. Thank God these two are finally going at it. I get them both confused. They play at 7:05 to figure out who is the better Anderson. Eric Fetty and the Nationals, they're in Philly with Matt Moore. Diamondbacks and Rangers, Taylor Widener and Jordan Lyles on the hill. White Sox and Royals at 8:10 Eastern. Dylan Cease is back at it. He'll match up against Brad Keller. The Tigers and Twins at 8:10. Tyler Anderson and Kenta Maeda. And at 9:38, the Rockies are at the Angels. Jose Suarez and his 2.85 ERA versus German Marquez. And at 9:45, seemingly the 53rd time that the Dodgers and Giants have played in the last 52 days, it's Julio Urias and Logan Webb. 10:10 Eastern. Astros and Mariners, McCullers and Flexen. And at 10:10 as well, the Padres will host the A's. James Caprillion and Chris Paddock in a showdown between great young arms. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Saturday mornings, 8:30 Eastern. Dixie Football Nation is back and better than ever. We've got Tony Agolini, Matt Carr, Tones Ariola, Bobby and Angelo, along with Mac McGee this fall. Dixie Football Nation, heading to the gridiron, talking ACC, SEC, the Big Ten, and all the big games throughout the college football land. That's Dixie Football Nation, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, Saturday mornings on the Armchair Quarterback Show's YouTube channel, going live. or catch the instant replay. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. The Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Justin Waller.
Good morning. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Olympic mountain biking might be the hidden gem of the Summer Olympics this year.
Okay.
I left you speechless. That's awesome. Check it out.
I didn't expect that.
I didn't want you to set your DVR right now, but go ahead, sir.
I am MacMe, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. I'm going to explain why we got a picture of A-Rod up on his boat over here, man. This is classic. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
What the hell?
Emergency preparedness drill.
Oh, no, come on.
You know how it works. Once a quarter, keep our readiness up. Now, rise and shine, sleepyhead. Half the town is probably dead.
I have to get a lock from my door.
I think you'll like the drill tonight. I've tried to make it fun. Each of these cards contains a detailed scenario of a possible apocalyptic event. Everything from wildfires to a surprise invasion by Canada. Pick a catastrophe, any catastrophe.
Sheldon, Canada is not going to invade California.
You really? You think those hippies in Washington and Oregon can stop them?
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man with a cool one in his head.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Little batting practice getting us started with Justin Waller. Justin, how the hell are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing good, and obviously a little bit more excited about Olympic mountain biking king than you are.
I guess I haven't seen it, and so
pure carnage. NASCAR without motors going downhill, great wrecks.
Did you catch it this morning, or was this last night, or what?
Through our subscriber that we mutually share, or have, not share. You can just record it and pull it at any time. You can actually go in there and search by events under the Tokyo Olympics, and it's pretty nice.
YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if you meant that or something.
Yeah, I didn't know if we were going to charge them for an ad or not, but you know.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, come on, it's YouTube, and we're on YouTube. We're obviously not against YouTube, right? So, I mean, everyone's got their.
Yes, I rejoined, and I'm back after a small hiatus, and still. The best streaming content. So I'll just wrap that commercial full circle. There you go.
There you go. I searched and could not find what we were looking for, some kind of promo code or something. I was like, man, I put it every kind of search engine. Basically the answer was, yeah, right, buddy.
You're paying full price. You can't hook your friends up.
Like, come on, bro. Can't one of us take a month off and then come back and we both get a deal? Come on. So the reason why A-Rod is right next to us, right above you, over my right shoulder. Check this story out. So, you know, he and J-Lo have split up, right? That's been well documented. And I guess Ben Affleck and her are back, cuddles and all that kind of stuff, which I was not aware of that until this story popped up, that I guess they're back together and whatever. But evidently this has been going on for a hot minute since they've broken up. A-Rod is showing up everywhere J-Lo is at. If J-Lo is in vacationing in the Hamptons, which she was earlier, A-Rod pops up like his house almost like right next to hers, right? This picture, where would you say this picture is taken at? Because he shows up because
I hope he's looking at Ben play with her butt cheek on the picture we've seen circulating around. Please tell me he's on the boat. I mean, did that happen? Did he go pure stalker on it?
I don't think he's on their boat. I mean, unless he went, Groucho Marx and put like something on, I'm here to be a handyman. But I'm talking about in the world. Because remember, A-Rod works every Sunday night, but I don't believe they've been in the booth. So I believe a lot of this stuff has been, Zoom-like. So weirdly enough, ESPN's still not putting their people in the booth because they're fully bought into I mean, good Lord, ESPN, the election was 8 months ago. Give it a rest, right? But anyways, this picture was taken early this week, I believe, in France. He's followed her from New York to France. Just happened to be in the area. Hey, baby. We got a full-blown stalker. A guy who's got millions of dollars has no reason to chase after anybody, right? No matter what his preference is. A-Rod can have pretty much whatever he wants because he's A-Rod and he's a multimillionaire, damn near billionaire, baby.
The one thing he can't do is become Robin without Batman.
I guess, man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I had to put that picture up. I heard this story today and I was like, all this money that you have, and you would think you don't get married. Okay. Maybe you really cared about it, whatever, but you've got all this money. You would think you could find time and people to keep you entertained, to not be chasing her. I mean, literally halfway around the world. If this was just happened to be in New York, I wouldn't even be like, whatever, man. They probably have the same area. But he happened to be in France at the same time she happened to be in France. Get the hell out of here with all that. Bad news today. Simone Biles pulled out of the Olympics. Evidently some kind of an injury that has not been disclosed yet. So that is the bad news going on today. But let me go ahead and we'll dive into the first quarter of the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good news for NFL fans. Justin, looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Packer after all this year. Looks like they have figured out something. Do you see this thing where they're talking about it? Nothing's been announced as a finalization, but they're saying the concessions at the Packers stadium could have something to do with it as well. Dude, that is opening up a Pandora's box that owners don't want to open up, right? You get your money from butts in the seats and sodas and beers bought, right?
How does that fall in with Green Bay, with them being the way that their ownership is? And I mean, the fans, I mean, how does that fall in? Do they even get to have a say in that? Because, yeah, you're right. That is unique. What happens when Tom Brady says, well, you know what? I want beer sales. You can have the rest. You want me to play here? I'll play for $5 million, but you give me the beer sales.
Yeah. What if 5 years from now, Patrick Mahomes says, you know what, dude, I want ticket sales. I mean, what the hell's the point of even owning a team at this point? I feel like the NFL has got to step in and say, you can't do this. You make your money in our salary cap, and that's it. You cannot make your money outside the salary cap, right? Because you're opening up a Pandora's box of, it's almost like college football-ish, like, right, where they're just bending rules to put money in people's pockets so they'll play for you. I know it's a different scale, but what I'm saying is you're already allotted X amount of money to play for a team, and that's supposed to be the salary cap, and that's supposed to be it. This isn't like you're being given the ability to have your own hot dog stand in the stadium. Okay, this is, you're going to take a percentage of the concessions. If that's accurate, that's asinine. I mean, that is incredibly asinine. Dumb on the part of the Packers, who I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know who the hell's I don't know who runs them, because there's got to be one final thought, right? Even though it's owned by a community, you can't have.
We have someone in our circle that has a share of the Packers that we've joked about in the past. I mean, what happens here? Is he going to lose his beer sales?
Does somebody have the impact?
I can't remember who it was. I know that we have an individual that has one.
Now that you say that, it rings a bell. I just don't recall.
And I know it's between two, and I don't want to throw names out and just be completely wrong. But we'll talk about it off air. But yeah, I mean, where does that come down to, and how does that fall? And then do the other
I would have
controlling owners
the
just
Atlanta Braves a very, 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 very small percentage. But I bought a stock in them a while back just so I could say I was part of the Atlanta Braves.
Hey man, it happens. And I think this was a unique or a similar situation that occurred during one of the sell-offs or at some point where you had an opportunity. And I think this individual just said, hey, I'm an official owner of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a weird story going forward because if it happens, the first thing that I thought of was, dude, NBA players are going to jump on this, especially when you have teams where there's like 2 or 3 guys, the main reason why they come out to see you, right? Like, let's just take the Brooklyn Nets, for example. No one's going to go watch a Nets game if Kevin Durant's not on the team, right? Does he have a stake in their concessions? I mean, what are we talking about? Does he get concessions and Kyrie gets like, t-shirt sales, and then maybe James Harden gets parking? I mean,
well, I see that, but I guess my immediate first thought was, okay, when does this stop? When the first round of concessions go out and the second round of negotiations, and now my $10 beer costs $15. At what point do folks just stop going to the game? So it's that Pandora's box you talk about. Once it spirals out of control, and just say, okay, now you have 32 teams that are conceding concessions, and everybody is putting in a portion, and then the next let's go back 3 years. Mahomes is entering the league. Whoever the next Mahomes is like, you know what? I'm 10 times better than that guy. So now we have to raise concessions. So who goes and fills in for Matt Ryan with a fixed concession slate? And that was the whole point that Arthur built the stadium, is he wanted in-seat attendance and he wanted affordable concessions. Well, now in the market, if you've got to offer up concessions, how do you continue to do that?
Man, you've got me, because I really don't know. Man, I'm sitting here.
I mean, now you're not going to go to the games because we can already see a better performance on TV.
You're going to do what I know I do. I don't know if you do, but something.
You know how we roll.
Yes, strapped to your leg, and it's not a weapon.
They don't have plastic detectors yet.
Exactly. I still got that one that fits like comfortably. It's a boot cut plastic flask with the Tennessee Vol logo on it. That wasn't made by accident.
Can we just quit making glass with metal lids, shooters and pints while we're at it? I mean, it's 2021. Everybody knows what you're carrying them around. You get the big bottle. Nobody buys pints unless you're taking it somewhere.
Well, I guess it's a little bigger than a pint, not much, but that's after pre-gaming. You know what I mean? I'm gonna let going in there. It's not like I'm just pouring out my cup of Joe as I'm heading to the stadium. Go, all right, let's see what beer tastes like. Nah, man, I'm hitting it hard 4 or 5 hours before. What didn't you and I sit out in the freaking parking lot drinking going into what the hell game did we walk into? I remember we were on top
two of them. It was we were down there for the Alabama Florida State, and then followed up Tennessee Georgia Tech game.
Okay, and I guess we did it. Well, the Tennessee Georgia Tech game we pre-gamed at the Braves game, because only people would ever do that. Dude, we're gonna go ahead and go to batting practice, drink some beers, and then we'll take a Uber over to the football game. And then that was the one I'm thinking of was the Florida State Alabama game. When we were out there it was like a parking garage, and we were slamming her down, and we walked around the compound, so to speak. I bet that place looks a lot different than what it did when we were.
Now that it's probably built up outside, because there was nothing around it at the time.
And you know what else is different about that stadium right now as we speak? It's got a resident. Did you see this story?
I did see that.
Kanye West is living in that damn stadium. He's squatted. He's a squatter. He had some kind of a record release. I guess they still call them record, album release, whatever you want to call it. Friday-ish, I believe. And he said he heard some things that he didn't like in the music, so he's going to continue to edit. And it was supposed to come out either this past Friday or this coming Friday, but now it's been pushed back until August 6th. So he's living in squalor in the stadium. If you had one stadium that you could live in, and you've got to take into consideration all of what's going to go on in that stadium and what's around it, is there one stadium that you would pick over others?
I mean, that would probably be it, but I could see me winding up in Dallas. I've never been in it, and I'm not a huge Cowboys fan, but if I had to live in a stadium, I don't know that Jerry's World wouldn't be the one that I'm going to squat in. even though Arthur's hitting a bad second. LA has no interest to me. It would be the other one, it or Vegas, but I have no desire to be in those cities. So I would be between Dallas and Atlanta.
I think my two choices would be Vegas and Nashville because the Titan Stadium. I wouldn't want to be at this Predators Stadium because there's what 81 or 41 home games, and you got to deal with all the concerts that go on. The football stadium isn't going to get used as much, right? And also, you're a very, very short Uber ride over the bridge to downtown Nashville, where all the the partying is. I don't know Vegas as well, but I got to figure if I'm in the Vegas Stadium and it's looked really badass, that I'm really close to a casino. So I'm just going to assume that. I'm assuming there's a casinos in there somewhere. So I'm going to guess that.
Well, I hope you land that spot because I'd be worried about you at Nissan permanent resident there because not only are you short Uber ride, you're short walk from danger. So, turn left out of the parking lot and it's not where you need to be.
I'm not walking anywhere, man. If I've got enough money where I'm squatting in a football stadium, then I am definitely going to be in armored vehicles, whether they're needed or not, just because it's cool to have been in an armored vehicle. And trust me, my friend, you'll have a suite in there somewhere. You'll be squatting with me because I'm not living in a stadium that size by myself. I'll go nuts, No matter how big a stadium is, it's still not big enough for you and your wife to live in, right?
You'll fill it up. I guarantee.
You got to go down there, and I'm going to go way the hell over here for at least 5 minutes. We can't be on top of each other the whole time. All right, let's get into Virginia Tech football. They are going to be hitting this season, and look, this season here, Justin, for all intents and purposes, this is make or break for Fuentes. I did not realize this was his 6th season. I don't know why, but I thought it was like his 4th-ish. This is his 6th season, and I saw a stat. Where's that? That Fuentes in his 6 years has gone 38-26, which doesn't sound terrible. But has only had one 10-game winning season. And that's a program that was used to winning quite a bit.
Well, and he's had 2 under 500 seasons, which hasn't happened since, I think, the early 90s. I mean, that's not something that program is accustomed to. They don't have sub 500 years, and he's unfortunately had 2 of them. Now, I don't know how much you put on last year and how much I think you get a pass on that, but the defense was just slam horrible. I don't think if they can't find a way to shore that up, then Mr. Fuentes will most likely have his walking papers. You don't walk in behind Beamer and struggle on special teams and defense in consecutive years of embarrassment like you had last season.
And then they got the transfer quarterback from Oregon, Braxton Burmeister. I don't know how you pronounce. I'm going to assume it's Burmeister. They're expecting big things out of him. He definitely can't be worse at quarterback because every time I watch Virginia Tech play Virginia Tech offense at quarterback last few years, I forget the kid's name, but he just left the terrible. I mean, it was a wide receiver playing quarterback. He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but still they scored like 31 points and averaged 440 yards a game down the stretch. So even with that, you got to figure they got a fighting chance with this Burmeister kid. They've also got some kids coming back. Wide receiver Tavion Robinson and Trey Turner both they were averaging about 16 yards a catch a game last year. I figure that's going to have an uptick with a traditional real, quote unquote, real quarterback. And he's coming from Oregon. You got to figure that he can sling it.
I'm pissed off. I mean, that quarterback you were putting down transferred to Tennessee. His name was Hooker. And you just derailed my thoughts. Thanks, buddy.
I forgot that's where he went.
I mean, you're like, yeah, this guy sucks, and he's going to salvage your team's career.
If it's the same kid I'm thinking of, man.
If this was the Premier League, we would be getting ousted. I mean, let's just put it that way. Thanks for sealing our fate.
I'll have to look and see a Tennessee depth chart and make sure that that's the same kid because the one that I remember I think that was his name. I think it was Hooker. he would come in, and I was like, my God, don't they have a punter that can throw better than this kid? He's a really good athlete, and maybe that's what he's transferring to Tennessee to be. Is he transferring there to be a quarterback?
I mean, he's in the room right now, but I mean, all odds are that Harrison Bailey comes out and wins that. I think that's the future for the program if Heupel's system is going to go, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, Hooker could probably transition out. He's an elite runner, so I mean, he gives you some flexibility to for a yards after the catch guy.
All right, so as far as the I didn't mean to rain on your parade. I did not know that's where he trained.
You peed all in my Cheerios, buddy.
Left.
I mean, just straight wet them up. They're soggy.
I thought he went out west, so I didn't even think that. Oh man, that's funny. Let's go ahead and hit their action. He's like, he didn't go far enough west, evidently. He went a little west. You got to go far west. Virginia Tech and Knoxville, that ain't far west enough. Okay, let's go ahead and get into their schedule real quick because we're going to run out of time here. First of all, number one with the bullet, man, they hit the ground running. This is a team that they're going to take on in North Carolina that hung, 56 on them last year? And they get that right out the gate. Who the hell decided this was a good idea? It's going to be on Friday, September 3rd, which is fun. And what sucks that I just realized last night when I saw this, I was like, I'm going to be at the Grand Ole Opry during this game. This sucks, man. I was really looking forward to I thought this was a Thursday night game, and then I realized they had it down to the last, I don't know, 2 months ago. They couldn't decide if they're going to do Thursday or Friday night. I assumed it was going to be Thursday because the Big Ten's got a really good Friday night game too. So there's some good football that weekend, or that Friday. They're going to take on North Carolina. It's in Blacksburg, but they're going to take on North Carolina. Whew, that is a rough one coming out the gate. And then they get Middle Tennessee State of all teams to come in there. They go to West Virginia. That's going to be a rough out of conference game. Could be an in-conference game by the time we get there. Richmond, which, I mean, that's just laziness. I guess they're not wanting to drive very far for their out-of-conference game there. Is that Richmond College? Or is that high school? Or what is that? Notre Dame, Pittsburgh at home, Syracuse at home. They got a lot of home games at Georgia Tech, at Boston College, and then they finish off at home against Duke, and then at Miami and at Virginia, which is going to be huge for their season. Their over under right now out in Vegas is 7.5 to 8. So somewhere in that, depending on which book you look at. Where do you see Virginia Tech at this year? Because I think they're right on the cusp there, but it would not shock me if they're below that number.
And I'm going to lean under. 6 of your first 7 games are at home, and those include battles with North Carolina, on the road at West Virginia. That's the one road game in that mix. But you've got Carolina, Notre Dame, and Pitt at home. That's going to be brutal. And then Syracuse the following week, and we don't really know where we're going to put that team in yet. But Pitt and Syracuse, I mean, you've got a tough schedule. Those could all be rough games. 6-6, 7-5 is what I've got. But best case, maybe they win out an 8th one. But I think it's going to take a big upset in there somewhere. They've got to win one of the big ones. They'll have to pull off a Carolina or a Notre Dame or an at Miami to carry that. And I don't know that they get one of them big 3.
And honestly, if that happens, I think Virginia Tech's looking for a new coach. 6-6 definitely. 7-5 most likely. I don't see, unless those 5 losses are really close nail biters to these powers, but I think,
and they're 21-point games. I mean, you can't have a defense letting 32 points be scored per game this year and blown out. I think that's completely going to be on the coach if they're not in these games. Like you say, they're not nail biters, but these need to be low scoring nail biters, or it's going to be walking papers.
I think North Carolina beats them. Notre Dame probably beats them. We'll have to see what Notre Dame has, but I think I got to give Notre Dame the edge, even though it's in Blacksburg. Boston College is going to beat them in Boston. That quarterback, I'll say it again, look out, y'all. He's going to be a very big pro prospect. At Miami, at Virginia, at West Virginia. That's 6 games, and then at home against Pittsburgh. That's 7 games are going to – I think 6-6, 7-5 is best case scenario, which will have Fuentes fired. I agree with you. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Well, now that I won't distract people, let's get back to this Olympic mountain bike. Pure carnage. It's like NASCAR, off-road, downhill. The wrecks are amazing. You must record it and get it set up.
Hang on for 1 second before you dip out, because this what I said yesterday is what I'm about to play for you about the Cleveland Guardians, because you got to see this. It's pretty damn funny as we head to break.
Will do.
Let me tell you something. If the U.S. government decides to stick a tracking device up your ass, you say thank you. And God bless America.
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterback.
Against the blitz. Touchdown, Florida State. Rock Preston scores the touchdown. And now it's Bowden's decision. And he sends Mowry onto the field right away. Danny Cannell is the holder. Mowry ties it. This game is over. A 31-31 tie. A 31-31 tie. A deep throw by Lawrence. A lot of contact. Justin Ross broke free from it. He's down in the end zone. Touchdown, Clemson. Justin Ross, a freshman wide receiver, big, rangy, and Trevor Lawrence knows, throw it up against that single coverage, give him a chance to make a play on a 50-50 ball.
If you're a fan of the ACC, pull up an armchair. You're home.
Do you want to lose 18 pounds fast and improve your health? Now you can lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months with Nutrisystem. Get delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners, even snacks and shakes delivered safely to your door. All delivered for free. It's easy to follow, and you'll see results in your first week. Just text BURN to 323232. You'll get your favorite foods made healthier and perfectly balanced to put your body in fat burning mode. Text BURN to 323232 right now and get 50% off a month of meals and shakes. That's right, 50% off a month of meals and 50% off a month of shakes with probiotics to help support your immune system. Just text BURN to 323232 right now. There's even a money-back guarantee. Millions of people have lost weight with Nutrisystem, and you can too. Lose up to 18 pounds in your first 2 months. Just text BURN to 323232. That's BURN to 323232.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Hi, this is Britney Spears.
What up, this Jay-Z.
This is Jennifer Lopez. Armchair.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's Almost Good Beer. Remember, Ed's Almost Good Beer was brewed in God's country when God wasn't looking.
Kick off fall and kick off happiness with Schafferhofer grapefruit and pomegranate beer. Log on to kickoffhappiness.com for your chance to win a cool custom cooler with Schafferhofer swag, including your favorite team's jersey. Look for the Schafferhofer displays at your local retailers for great savings on Schafferhofer grapefruit and pomegranate. And learn more about the sweepstakes at kickoffhappiness.com. See site for official rules. Must be 21 or older. Brewed and bottled in Germany. Imported by Radeberger Group USA, Norwalk, Connecticut. Always enjoy responsibly.
CBS Sports Radio.
Although edited, tonight's thriller contains suspense and violence which may be unsuitable. Parental discretion is advised.
Good morning. Bobby, how are you, man? I thought I'd let you in the room before we went to break. I guess I misclicked or lost you.
Yeah, no worries. I was saying it was getting kind of close. I was like, oh, I don't know if we'll make it.
I just assumed I clicked it, and then I clicked the thing that we do when we go to break, so that they're not just sitting there watching us scratch our ass. I thought I saw it accepting. I don't know if it lost it or something. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I hated to see the news that her name's escaping my mind.
Simone Biles.
Biles is going to be missing the rest of the Olympics. Get injured, and let's go ahead and get into what's happening, by the way, because got a few things to hit up with on this, and we'll go ahead and do that right now. If it'll play. There we go. What's happening in the world of sports real quick. We'll dive into it. If you want to hear more about this, check out the Take Me Out to the Ball game, which is dropping at the bottom of the hour as this show is ending at 9:30. 10 complaints filed against Watson now. They're saying that 10 police complaints were filed. Not just 22. So 10 of the 22 women that have went after him for civil suits evidently had police complaints filed for him. So that's an eye opener.
Actually, I think I believe it was 8 of the original 22, and then 2 new ones who filed criminal complaints.
Well, 2 that are not going to or have yet to file civil suits. Not saying they're not going to, but 2 of them had not filed a civil suit. Now that's according to their attorney. So that's according to Watson's attorney. Oklahoma State president, she rips Oklahoma and Texas for their dirty dealings leaving the Big 12. I think she probably has a point. She's basically saying if you think that this started just a few weeks ago and all of a sudden here we are, she believes this has been going on for months. So basically it's against the bylaws of the Big 12. And the Grizzlies, they make a big trade yesterday. They had Adams and Bledsoe and flip-flop picks with New Orleans Pelicans. And Aaron Rodgers is expected to hit Green Bay camp, I would think, sometime this week. He's still out in California, but it looks like they are getting the sides to agree for him to play this year. What say you on that NBA trade, by the way?
I'm not really a fan of what the Grizzlies were doing. I believe they plan on moving Bledsoe anyways, whether that's buying him out or trading him somewhere else. But I don't like the trade. I like Valanciunas. I think he's he's an above average center. I think he's better than Steven Adams. And I think the 2 contracts they're getting back, and Steven Adams and Bledsoe, are just not good enough to only move up 7 picks.
Well, I think the other thing is that they were going up 7 spaces as well in this year's draft. I will say this for Adams. If they don't want him, they can trade him because Steven Adams is a beast. And Steven Adams does the dirty work that nobody else wants to do. And what Steven Adams needs to do, he needs to be on a contender. Because that's the kind of mentality. He's a winner. He's got that winning mentality. But I get what you're saying as far as the overall New Orleans might have gotten the better player in the trade long term. I get that because, I mean, that kid they made the trade for, he averaged, 17 points last year?
I think it was 17 and 13, yeah.
Yeah. So he's definitely a very, very talented kid that they can build around with Zion Williamson. I think it was a good trade on both sides. I'll be interested to see if they do keep Bledsoe, if they do keep Adams, or if they're just trying to move them and they were willing to accept it and then just move it. Because evidently they've got their eye on somebody, right?
Yeah.
The NBA draft is in 2 nights. And what are you looking at for this year's NBA draft?
Well, I think for one, we all know who's going number 1, Cade Cunningham out of Oklahoma State. He's kind of the star of this draft. He'll be going number 1 to the Pistons, assuming there's no trade ups. But right now, I think Detroit's going to hold still and take what they got with Cunningham. And then another guy I like in this draft is Evan Mobley. I think he's the 2nd best player in this draft. He's a center out of USC. He's a great defender. I think he'll be good in the league.
What I'm intrigued about Scotty Barnes. Obviously, him playing at Florida State's got my eye. They've got him going number 3 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I swear, man, every time you swallow something on this show, you sound like a frog. Like
I didn't know it'd pick up. My fault.
You got the loudest swallow on the planet. We're gonna have to get you a straw or something. Might look dangerous.
I'll grab a straw next time around. I didn't know it'd pick up.
Gulp. I keep meaning to say something without saying something. I'm like, I can't ignore this.
No, you're good. I'm glad you let me know.
but with Scotty Barnes, I'm going to say this again. I watched him all year long playing Florida State. He's so raw. The kid. I'm not saying he's not going to be good in the NBA. So don't mistake what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's ready for the NBA. So if you draft him with the 3rd pick overall, man, you better be prepared for him to have a big time 3 to 4 years before he's really ready to perform on a high level in the NBA. And to me, that's concerning if you're choosing the number 8 overall pick, because about the time he starts to get to go, man, I'm glad we got him. He's going to be a free agent.
Well, I think it comes down to the team that drafts him. If he goes to a team like, if he goes to Cleveland, or if he goes to Orlando maybe, or even Oklahoma City if he falls that far, I think those would be good situations for him, because those are teams that are currently rebuilding right now, especially the Thunder with how many picks they have in their arsenal. I think going to a team that is rebuilding and that plans on, playing the long road and trusting this process, I guess, in a sense, I think that'd be a good situation for him, just not forcing him into a role too early.
Yeah, and granted, all the teams with the top picks are none of these teams are going to be contenders anytime soon. You don't have like a random, why do the Lakers have the 2nd pick type of year, right? But I'm looking at, I just don't know if OKC is his best place to land. I honestly think Orlando might be the best place for land. First of all, if somehow he can fall that far, he would be an instant draw for fans in Orlando, because Orlando's a pretty heavy Florida State town. Okay. So just from a marketing standpoint, Orlando would love to get him. Now, I don't think they're going to trade up for him, because they've got 2 picks in the top 8, and they're looking at building something and not mortgaging their future just to move up a couple of players. But Jalen Green, to me, is an interesting pick. Haven't seen him much. Haven't seen him. I've only seen some videos of him, obviously, because he did not play in college, as far as I know. Right? Wasn't he one of the guys that didn't play college?
Yeah, he with some other prospects, he formed a G League team, I believe.
Right. So Evan Mobley, we remember him being very dominant at USC. He to me, he's very interesting. And a couple of the other guys that are ranked high that I've not seen well, so I'm gonna move past them. But I have seen Moses Moody from Arkansas. He was pretty. Now, CBS has him going to Orlando at the number, I guess that's the 8th pick overall. So they've got Orlando going Suggs from Gonzaga, which everybody remembers him, and Moody from Arkansas. And then this guy, I think, might be a reach, because I think he was a really good college player. I think he's going to be a solid NBA player. But the number 9 over pick, the Sacramento Kings, grabbing Franz Wagner from Michigan. Did you watch him play?
I did a bit. Yeah, I did him in Michigan.
Man, he looks like one of those guys that's not going to. Now, I can say he's going to stink in the NBA, but I think he's going to be very pedestrian.
Mm-hmm.
I would be I get that he's 6'9", he's a shooter. He never seemed very fast to me, and that always concerns me. Whenever you see a guy who's kind of a lumbering kind of guy in college, and you'll see them do well. I'm trying to think of someone that you may know, because all my thoughts go back. Well, I mean, I'm thinking like Wally Zerbiak is who he kind of reminds me of, where he was good. He was damn good in college. He got in the NBA, and that half step that you don't have makes a big difference. So that was a little concerning to me that Sacramento would go all in on him. I have my doubts that Wagner goes top 10. If he does, all you're going to get on ESPN for the next 3 weeks is they got white privilege. That's why they drafted him.
He never should have been drafted. They'll go the exact opposite. I'm saying he should be a little farther down. They're going to say that he should never been drafted, should never been allowed to play the sport of basketball. Any other guys that might be deeper in the draft that you have? Well, I mean, first of all, where do your boys draft at? Do they have a first round
Blazers?
pick?
No, we don't have a first round pick. We gave that up in the Robert Covington trade last offseason.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So you literally have no interest in this draft, huh?
I'll pay attention to it just to see where guys fall, but for the Blazers, not particularly, no.
I'm interested to see where Keon Johnson goes. They've got him projected. He was the Tennessee star, played really well at the beginning of the season. They got him projected 24th overall to the Rockets, but we'll see where that goes. But anyways, we can move on from that. Just wanted to get kind of a feel for that. NBA free agency. Will you be watching the draft once Damian Lillard gets traded to the Knicks and you get some of the Knicks draft picks?
I don't know what the Knicks can package together. Maybe RJ Barrett and some other guys.
That's what I saw. But yeah, I saw RJ Barrett and a couple other pieces and draft picks for Lillard.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Dame get moved before the draft. I think there'd be a lot more going into it than that. I think if he gets moved, I think this season, I think it's kind of a make or break year for his future with the Blazers. I think if we have a successful year after kind of rebuilding the team around him, I think maybe he'll want to stay. But if we don't make much change and we're a first round exit again, I think he'll then bounce.
When I saw that trade, RJ Barrett for Damian Lillard, all I thought was, is that all they're going to get? I don't know if I'd make that trade.
Yeah. There'd probably be a better package out there.
I felt like that the guy that was making this trade offer, I forget where I even saw it yesterday, but I felt like at the time I was like, is this guy just a Knicks fan? Like what are we looking at here? I just feel like that if you're going to have RJ Barrett involved, there's going to have to be a little bit more if I'm going to give you Damian Lillard, and the rest of the package that the guy put together was very, very pedestrian at best. So anyways, moving on from that, the free agents market is going to be hitting in the NBA. What is that? I think they said August 6th. August 2nd, Monday. Do you see any big shakers and movers in this? Because this doesn't seem like one of the NBA free agencies where there's just a bunch of buzz, because guys like LeBron and company or whatnot are already settled into where they're going to play next year.
Mm-hmm. I think the big guy that I'm looking at is Kawhi Leonard, and it comes down to whether or not he chooses to opt into his player option. I think if he opts out and signs somewhere else in free agency, obviously it'll make that team instantly a contender, and it will also probably force the Clippers to blow it up and trade Paul George. So I think the decision that lies in front of Kawhi Leonard, I think it's going to have huge implications on what happens next year.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard, I don't think he's going anywhere because he's torn ACL. Who the hell wants him, right? Yeah. So I figure he's just going to.
I'd want Kawhi.
I wouldn't.
I'll take him on.
He's not going to play.
He'll play.
When?
It was a partially torn ACL. He'll recover probably he'll recover by around playoff times. I promise you. If he doesn't play in next year's playoff, I will be shocked.
Partially torn ACL. That's
better than full.
That's like saying they only blew off one of your ears in the gunfight. It's like, dude, I still got shot in the head. The hell are you talking
it's better
about?
than being completely deaf, I guess.
He did it in what, June?
Yes.
Best case scenario, he comes back like around February or March. I'm not signing a guy like that, because if he has the typical, these NBA players typically do not heal as fast as other athletes. I don't know what the reasoning is, but it's probably got to do with the sport that they play, the constant running on the leg. I mean, he could be another Klay Thompson where you don't see him for 2 years. I think if he's smart, he just sticks it out, rehabs, keeps, assuming that he feels good about his doctor situation, which I would think he would, being from San Diego, that he's got a good doctor in Los Angeles. And if it were me, if I were him, I would opt in. I would stay an extra year, unless I'm trying to pressure the Clippers into giving me a longer deal, which the Clippers might do that. But if I were him and I wanted to get out of there, and I would just rehab the hell out of it, get ready, and I probably wouldn't even play next year. I'd probably sit there and go, you know what? If I'm 100%, maybe. But other than that, I'm eyeing free agency next year because PG-13, playoff P, is not the answer, and I don't want to be stuck here with him. Or you better get rid of playoff P because this formula has not worked. It has not worked at all. All right, moving on from that, the Washington football team, that is the team that we are looking at today. And, of course, the big news yesterday was that Jonathan Allen signed a 4-year extension, $72 million extension, which is huge for them. I mean, he is pretty much, the anchor of that defensive line in the middle. And then you've got Sweat and Young on the outside. I mean, that defensive line is just brutal. I mean, you're just going to get – I really like this team this year, by the way. And
I do too.
And the draft that they had, I thought was solid. You added Davis. You added St. Just, the defensive back from Minnesota. I really like that. And I actually thought that Sam Cosmi, I think that's how he pronounced it. I mean, maybe it's Cosmi, but Samuel Cosmi, the tackle from Texas, I thought that was a steal because when we were doing our draft boards, our mock drafts, most of them had Cosmi like a late first round, and they ended up getting him late second round. So I thought that was a hell of a deal. And then they bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick. They bring in Curtis Samuels for a 3-year, $45 deal. So I think a lot of people, I think that's kind of gone under the radar. I was doing a fantasy mock draft the other day, one of my first ones. I saw Samuel, and I was like, oh, that's right. He went to Washington. Because in my head, like he's still a Panther, right? And then I think something that's went under the radar that's going to be bigger than most is William Jackson, the 3-year, $42 deal that he signed coming from Cincinnati. That defense just got better. Now they signed Adam Humphries and Lamar Miller. That ain't helping anybody do anything. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, to me, is going to make that offense go. That defense is going to be elite. This team, to me, I'll hit their schedule real quick, but I think they've got a really good chance of winning this division.
I think not only do they have a good chance, I have them winning the division right now. I think that defense is just lights out.
Ease it, young Squire, because we're going to be making predictions on divisions later in the summer. So you don't want to quite put him there because you're gonna say, well, I got him there, but we'll see how we'll see what my final thoughts are. Because the problem is you don't want to pick yourself in the corner. Because what if Ryan Fitzpatrick goes out there and tears this Kawhi Leonard, in practice the first week?
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
It's all about the illusion. All right.
Yeah, wait and see what's up with Fitzpatrick. No, I do like Washington this year. I like Fitzpatrick. I think he had the Dolphins set to make the playoffs last year before he was benched. I like the addition of Curtis Samuel a lot. Him and Terry McLaurin, they played in college together. I think they'll be great in the league as well. And then that defense, like you said, adding William Jackson got a lot better. And I think this team has a good future.
And really, Taylor Heineke looked pretty good as well. So I'm assuming it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. But it's not definite. I mean, Taylor Heineke could take the reins over at some point. I thought he looked really good in the playoff game against Tampa. Kyle Allen just continued to do Kyle Allen things. I think he can be a solid backup in the league for years. I just don't know if he's ever going to be that next step starter. Real quick on their season in whole, you start off with the Chargers and the Giants at home, and then you're at the Bills and at the Falcons. Where do you have them after those two?
I have them going 3-1 in that stretch. I think they'll lose to the Bills, and I think they'll beat the other three.
Okay. And then at home against the Saints, home against the Chiefs, at Packers, at Broncos.
I think they'll go 2-2 in that stretch, assuming Rodgers comes back now. I think that's pretty much set in stone. So I'll have the Packers winning that game, and then I think they'll lose to the Chiefs as well.
This is a tough stretch, by the way, because they're going to, from a broader scope of that, you're going to go at Bills, at Falcons, and then the 4 games I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be bookend by Buccaneers at the Panthers, Seattle at home, and then at the Raiders. They've kind of got a brutal schedule, but I don't think a big number has to win your division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they'll go 3-1 in that stretch that you just mentioned with that loss coming to the Bucs. I think the Seahawks defense getting after Russell Wilson, or the Washington football team defense getting after Russell Wilson will be a factor in the Seahawks game, and I think they'll come out on top in that one.
You never have to apologize for calling them the Redskins, because until they come up with another nickname, I can't.
Yeah, it's hard to spell or pronounce the Washington football team every time you want to.
Yeah, this isn't English Premier League soccer. I mean, I can't just call them football club. Whatever. I mean, come on, come up with them.
Washington FT.
Right. So then that goes. So to finish off, it's home against the Cowboys, at the Eagles, at the Cowboys, at home against Eagles. So this is the interesting part. In 4 weeks, they're going to play the Cowboys and Eagles home and away, back to back to back to back to back, which is really weird. And then finish it all off at the Giants. Somebody screwed up when they were making the schedule and crammed all the division games in at the end. They had 5 division games to end this. That is really strange.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, where do you have your Super Bowl champion Washington football team? Proclaim them.
I think they'll finish around 10-7 this year, maybe 11-6. I really like this team. Like I said, I love their defense. I think that's going to be causing a lot of teams trouble, and I think that'll be a dominant force in a lot of games, and I think they'll win.
Yeah, I've got them somewhere around 11-6, 10-7. Even 9-8 might win this division. I mean, they're just the only real contender I see against them would be the Dallas Cowboys. And but a lot of questions have to get answered with Dallas. Mm-hmm. Mainly, how good is that defense going to play? Because I believe Dak will be okay. You know, he's a young guy. He's coming back off that injury, but it's a long time ago since he hit that injured list. I think that's their biggest concern. I really believe that Philly's in for kind of a rough year, because unless Jalen Hurts is miles above what we saw at the end of last year, that defense is not good enough to shut anything down. So they're going to be in some shootouts, and Hurts, you're going to rely on Hurts to constantly outduel guys in their division like Fitzpatrick and like Dak Prescott. That's a big ask. And I just think the Giants are going nowhere this year. I hope I'm wrong. I like the Giants. I like Daniel Jones, but it feels like something's missing with Daniel Jones. I think he's an okay quarterback, but I don't know if he is ever going to hit that elite level. We'll see this year, but he's definitely got a lot to work on. All right, let's go ahead and hit the turn back time and birthdays and our walk-offs. All right, on this date in 1988, long before you were ever thought of, Tommy John becomes the first pitcher to commit 3 errors on one play when he bobbles Jeffrey Leonard's grounder and then to recover throws the ball down the right field line that Dave Winfield retrieves and fires home when the Yankees left-hander cuts it off, relaying the throw wildly to home plate. 3 errors in one game by the great Tommy John. And, of course, that is the same Tommy John that the surgery was named after. He had the surgery years before that. He was 45 years old at this point. But he was the first one to have the surgery that is obviously famously named after him, Tommy John surgery. Birthdays. And, of course, what made that different was that they took a ligament out of his leg to put it in his arm. It was the first time they ever tried it successfully. You know, scared you had to have been if you're Tommy John.
For the first time.
What? This is the 19. You gonna do what? I don't know, man.
Yeah, it'd take a lot of convincing.
You guys know what the hell you're doing? We really don't. That's why we're gonna try it on you. There's a reason why they called it Sandy Koufax surgery, because Sandy Koufax is like, I'm not doing that.
It's your birthday today.
All right, birthdays. Start off with a dead guy. This is one of the most famous of all in baseball, New York baseball lore. Leo DeRocher. Ever heard of him?
I recognize the name, I believe.
Major League Baseball All-Star in 36, 38, and 40. He won the World Series with the Yankees in 28 and 34. Later became manager of the World Series New York Baseball Giants. He was the famous manager of the Giants when the shot was heard around the world. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. He was born on this date, 1906. So, actually had a pretty long run, man. We made it to 91, so he's 85 years old when he passed away.
Good.
Let's go ahead and grab someone who can actually celebrate their birthday. We believe. At last check. Well, look at whose birthday it is. It all comes full circle from the beginning. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, is 46 years old today, and he's still heartbroken chasing J-Lo halfway around the world. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
I don't talk about baseball too much, but the Yankees and Rays play tonight at 7:10 Eastern time. I'm not too sure how that's going to go. The Yankees are 51-47. Rays are 60-40. I know the Rays recently traded for Nelson Cruz, so it'll be cool to watch him, I suppose.
Are you do you have a baseball team that you pull for? Is it the Yankees? Is it the Rays?
I pull for the Rays. I was born in Tampa, and I've been to a few games, so I tend to pull for them.
So now it all comes full circle while you have your terrible taste in college football teams. But at least you have a good taste in baseball teams.
There we go.
That should be a pretty good series. I think Tampa's definitely headed to the playoffs. They just have to chase down the Red Sox to win the division, because you don't want to be in that wild card game. But that move for
Nelson Cruz,
the Rays, Nelson Cruz, that was a sneaky good move that I think is going to happen. I don't think the Rays are done. I think the Rays are going to make a couple of moves to help bolster. They need some innings eaters across these next couple of months. They don't want to keep just draining their bullpen. So that game, one of those games is on national TV. It might be tonight's game. I can't remember.
This one's on MLB Network.
It is on MLB Network tonight.
Yeah.
By the way, big 6-game stretch for your Rays. They're at home against the Yankees for 3, and then this weekend they're at home against the Red Sox. My walk off for the day is, well, Braves Mets. We didn't get a chance to talk about it much, but they split the doubleheader yesterday. It's okay. It's not terrible. I'll take it. But once again, what the hell is going on with the management of that team? In doubleheaders, they can't score. They cannot score. They gave up 1 earned run in a doubleheader yesterday, 14 innings, and only split the. You should have swept the doubleheader. And the second game that they lost was against the Mets bullpen. It wasn't even against like DeGrom or something. It's against the Mets bullpen. It's asinine and embarrassing. But Morton's on the hill. They got 3 more games with the Mets before the trading deadline. And I do sincerely believe that the Braves need to win 2 of those 3 for them to be aggressive on Friday before the deadline. If they lose 2 of 3, or God forbid get swept, it's a wrap. They're just going to try to win with what they got and see if the Mets can collapse. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday with Sean. And we got a couple of fun football teams that we're going to go over. And then, of course, it gets us one day closer to Thursday with Joey, NBA Draft Day, and we'll get into that. Great job, sir. And
thank you.
We will see you on the flip side. And now you can take a drink as loud as you want.
I will. Thank you. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.